Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. Yes, we're getting back to it. We're still on day 2 now. And the title is Dusty Lowlife Nathaniel Rowland Trial Day 2. His ex-girlfriend, Maria Howard, on the stand. So his ex-girlfriend has something to say, so we got to hear what she has to say. You know, why would you date something like this? Just look at him. Look at him. Really? All right, well, we're just going to hear what she has to say on the stand. All right, let me just give you a little bit brief update. What's this about? All right, so basically this trial is about... Okay, here we go. All right, a sociopathic Dusty Nathaniel Rowland, 27, was found guilty of posing as an Uber driver and killed Samantha Josephson, 21. So this, and also let me finish here. Samantha Josephson, a student at the University of South Carolina, got into a vehicle that she believed that it was her Uber in the early mornings of March 29th, 2019. She was found dead in Clarendon County the next day, stabbed more than 30 times. So make sure everybody, you read the description. And also, don't forget, hit the like button. That really helps out the content creator. And share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Tell me, what do you think? And also feel free to check out some of my past commentary. And you can also catch up if you didn't see the first 2 videos that I did on this trial. You can watch that too. It should be at the end screens or the cards, or you can just go back and just check out my channel page. You'll find it from there. All right, but don't forget, hit the like. All right, so we're going to get back into this trial. I thought it was very interesting. And what bothers me, this dusty lowlife right here was basically, ladies and gentlemen, just circling the streets looking for a victim. That's what he was doing. And unfortunately, this beautiful lady got into the wrong vehicle. She thought it was her Uber, and there she goes right there when she was waiting for her Uber. And he's just driving around searching for a victim. What a shame. Okay, so we're going to get into this one here, but he was found guilty. But let's just watch the trial anyway. And I also want to say, ladies and gentlemen out there, just be careful when you get these Ubers. Make sure it's the right Uber, the license plate, the pictures. Also let people know that you're getting into the Uber. It's sad we have to go through all this, but you're just going to have to for your safety. You just have to. Because there's a lot of sick, twisted people out here walking around this earth, and they working for the devil. Yep, I said it, working for the devil. For you to do evil, sick things like this, if that's not working for the devil, I don't know what isn't. So, if you like, let me know in the comments. Do you agree with me or you disagree with me? All right, so we're going to get into this trial here. And right now, it's on mute. Now, also, you know how we do. Oh, starting now. You know how we do. We're going to pick up the speed on this.
Please, court, one brief housekeeping matter. It just dawned on me, Judge, that we never inquired at the beginning of the trial whether there was a proposed witness list from the defense. I just thought about it, so I'm just asking that at this point.
No, sir.
Okay, I picked up the speed and I put on 125. All right, so go a little bit faster, but everybody should be able to catch along. If not, you slow it down on your end. Whatever works for you. But glad to have you here. Don't forget, hit the like, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Let's get into this. Dusty Lowlife Nathaniel Rowland, trial day 2. His ex-girlfriend Maria Howard on the stand. Let's get it.
Thank you.
Bring the jury.
Look at his face. It's like no remorse. It's so dark and empty. Dark and empty.
All right, thank you. Your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State calls Carrie Sheely.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Please have a seat, state your full name, and
Carrie Sheely,
And can you spell your first name, please?
C-A-R-E-Y.
And if you don't mind, could you take your mask off while you testify?
Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Mr. Sheely, where do you work?
Statewide Security Systems.
And what is statewide security systems?
We're a security company. We do a lot of video surveillance.
And can you explain to the jury where you do surveillance at?
It's all over the place. I mean, all over the state, actually.
And as it pertains to this particular case, what part of Columbia do you have surveillance over?
Well, it's pretty spread out. There's some areas that have more than others, but we don't have them everywhere. Obviously, they're the camera boxes that we have.
And when you say camera boxes, what do you mean?
It's a box that's mounted on a pole or a building that has cameras on it that record the video.
And what are these cameras for? What are they recording?
They're just recording anything in front of them.
And who can use or access these cameras?
Well, the majority of our clients, what they would call and request a video, and we would go and get the video and give it to them.
Now I'm going to move you to March and April of 2019. Were you working with this company at that point?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And what is your job if you're contacted by law enforcement?
I'm respond to the request and go get the video.
And how do they request the video?
They could email, call, text, whatever is most convenient for them.
And did you receive any requests to get any video as it pertained to March 28th, 29th, and 30th?
Yes.
What were you asked to do?
Just go download video from a certain date and time frame.
So who provides you with the date and time frame?
The investigator typically that calls and requests it.
So would it be Columbia Police Department?
Yeah.
And in this case, is that who contacted you?
Yes.
You want to approach? I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 12 and ask if you can identify that.
Yes.
What is it?
Just the video clips from the video that we pulled.
And how do you know this is the video that you pulled?
We looked at it.
All right, and what is on here to let you know that?
My initial.
And is what's on here a fair and accurate depiction of what you provided to law enforcement in reference to March 29th, 30th,
Yes.
and March 28th, 29th, and 30th?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I'd ask that you produce State's Exhibit 12 into evidence.
No objection.
Maybe before the vote.
State's 12.
No further questions, Your Honor.
By the defense.
Very briefly, right, please, point. Mrs. Julie, how are your video boxes labeled? Oh. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
How are your video boxes labeled or identified? What's
Well, usually by just the location, like sometimes they have numbers on them.
okay? And you said they're kind of placed around the greater Columbia area,
Yes, ma'am.
either on poles or on buildings, just
Yes, ma'am.
depends. And there's multiple angles for each camera, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Some of them have 3, some of them have 4.
That's right.
And you said when the investigator on a case makes a request to you, you go to that box and you pull that footage. And the investigators in this case, they made multiple requests for multiple different
Yes, ma'am.
intersections.
Yes, ma'am.
And some of those places were in 5 points, the 5 points area.
Yes, ma'am.
You got a specific request for Saluda Drive, and is that Hardin Street, that corner? Do you recall?
Saluda and Hardin, yeah.
Did you get any other requests for any boxes that are located on Saluda?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but there's several on Hardin Street there.
Okay. Do you know how many boxes you have on Saluda Avenue?
On Saluda, there's one on one end, there's one on the side of yesterday's, on the building, and then one on the far end by a hair salon on the left.
Okay. Do you have a security box that's close to Gourmet Shop?
Where?
Gourmet shop?
Yes.
You do?
Gourmet shop, that's, mhm.
Do you recall?
Yeah, and it's also one on Divine and Saluda.
Do you recall if law enforcement made a request for you to pull the footage from the box that's closest to the gourmet shop?
I don't remember off the top of my head, no. There was a lot.
Yes, sir. It was 2 years ago. Yes,
Yeah,
sir. But if they had, you would have given it to them.
absolutely.
Begging the court's indulgence. Thank you. I have other questions.
Thank you.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would now call Maria Howard.
Make sure the cell phones are off. Raise your left hand.
Left hand on Donna.
Is that right?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please have a seat, state your full name and address.
Watch your step.
My name is Maria Howard.
Maria, I'm gonna need you to speak real loud, okay? Maria, can you tell the jury how old you are?
I'm 27
And where do you live currently? You don't have to give your address, but where do you live?
in Columbia
And how long have you lived in Columbia?
for 10 years,
Prior to that, where did you live?
North Carolina.
So is that where you were born and raised? I need you to say yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So what year did you move to Columbia?
2012,
And do you remember how old you were?
17.
17. Were you still in high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you graduate from?
AC Flora.
And let me ask you this, when you graduated, what did you do?
After I graduated, I went to Voorhees College.
And while you were at Voorhees, what did you do for fun?
Party.
Party. Fair to say you went out regularly?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you party?
When I came back home, 5 points.
And when you say came back home, what do you mean?
Came back home to Columbia for the weekend.
Where's Voorhees?
It's in Denmark,
And
South Carolina.
Did you live in Denmark?
Yes, I was staying on campus.
Okay. So you would come back to Columbia and party, is that what you just said?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said in 5 points?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you have an occasion to meet the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you meet him? The first time?
It was on a weekend that I had came home from college.
So came home to Columbia?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you meet him?
At a club in 5 points.
In 5 points?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And at that time, what was your relationship?
We was friends.
Did you date at that time? So you were just friends?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you all ever date back then?
You can say dating, but it was more so like a friendship.
Did you all stay friends from back then until now? Or until March of 2019?
We had lost contact with each other.
When did you all become associated again?
Why? Why would you date this? Let's look at him. Why? I don't get it. I guess everybody likes what they like, right? Is that how it goes? All right, let's get back to it. Oh yes, at times I might pause just for a quick second and share my thoughts and opinions. All right, let's get back to it.
March, April, it was in 2020.
Before this incident, is that when you became acquainted?
No.
So you didn't know him prior to, not today. Okay, you rephrase. Did you know him in March of 2019?
Yes.
And were you all, how did you become acquainted with him again in March of 2019?
He had came to my job at McDonald's on Ghana's Ferry.
So I want to talk about McDonald's.
Yes, ma'am.
You said you worked at McDonald's in 2019?
Yes, ma'am.
Which McDonald's did you work at?
The one on Gunner's Ferry, across from Rosewood.
So coming into Columbia,
Yes, ma'am.
and you worked at McDonald's, how did you meet him? Did he come into McDonald's?
He was going through the drive-thru. I was outside
What were you doing outside?
smoking a cigarette because I had just got off.
So how did it happen that you talked to him?
He was like, "Hey, Maria," and I was like, "Oh, wow, I haven't seen you in forever," and we exchanged numbers.
And did you go back to work?
No,
What did you do at that point?
he offered me a ride home.
Did you have a car at that time?
No.
So did you get rides a lot?
Yes,
So he took you back to home, you said?
Yes.
Where was your home at that point?
Mountain Brook on Leesburg.
Was it, what type of house was it?
It was a condo,
Was it
a duplex.
so it was a duplex?
Hmm.
Was it an apartment or was it like an,
It was like an apartment.
so can you describe to the jury, was it one story or two?
It was
stories?
2 stories.
So he took you back to Mountain Brook, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when you got home?
We hung out for a little while, and then he left.
And let me ask you, was that the last time you saw him?
No,
How often did you see him after that first encounter at McDonald's?
every day.
After that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you all at that point start dating?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what do you mean by dating?
Seeing somebody every day.
And let's just be honest, did y'all have a sexual relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And at that time, did you have a child?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was your child?
4.
Did she live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you allow him to see her as well?
Not often.
So,
You would let something like this around your child? I didn't say in the beginning, but my channel is about dating, love, and relationships and toxic relationship advice channel also. And I'm just picking on this because I'm getting into the dating. Yes, I discussed that on my channel. Why would you date something like this? And then also, you would bring around your child. I don't care if it wasn't often. Your child shouldn't have been exposed to something like this. See, ladies, we have to do better. And as parents, we have to teach our kids when it comes to dating to do better. And we have to show by example too. Do you agree or disagree? Put in the comment section, let me know. I don't think I would have something like this around my kids. Absolutely not. All right, let's get back to it.
so you said that you saw him every day. What type of relationship did you mean when you said you saw him every day? Was it for long periods or short periods? Let's start there.
It was for long periods.
So what did y'all do during those long periods?
Watch TV, hang out, eat.
Did you go to 5 Points?
No,
Did you all go to bars at all?
no.
Do you know if he liked to go to bars?
Yeah,
How do you know that?
because he always talked about 5 Points.
And what did he tell you about 5 Points?
It was lit.
And what does, in case people don't know, what does it's lit mean?
It's so good. It's a place to have a good time.
And that's what he told you about 5 Points?
Hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And were you at that time going to 5 Points?
No,
Why not?
because I was working double shifts.
His good time is posing as an Uber driver, which he's not, and go out here and kidnap this girl and do such and such. That's a good time to you? Nasty, sick monster. You're dusty. Right, resume.
And I didn't have time to party no more.
So I'm going to move you to Thursday, the 28th of March, 2019. Were you two seeing each other at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you were working at McDonald's, I believe you said?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell the jury what you all did that. Was he there when you got up that morning?
No.
Did he stay over during this time period that you knew him? Would he spend the night with you?
He was supposed to, but he never came back.
What do you mean he was supposed to?
Like, he was telling me I'm going to stay tonight, and then he just didn't.
How do you know that?
Because if I wake up, the cover was still the way that I put it, and he wasn't there.
Would you all go to bed together?
No.
Where did you expect him to stay if he was staying with you?
In the living room.
And while we're talking about who was staying with you, was anyone else living with you at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Who else was living?
My daughter's cousin,
What's her name?
Naisha.
Okay. Did anything happen with Naisha during this time period?
She just didn't follow my rules, so I tried to get her evicted.
What do you mean by follow your rules?
The guidelines in my house,
Which were what?
the cleanliness.
So what was she not doing that abide by your cleanliness?
She wouldn't clean up, and her daughter had urinated on my daughter's floor, and it had my whole house smelling.
So you wanted to do what based on that?
get her put out. I wanted her to leave.
So what
but
did you do?
I went and typed a letter up, and I was going to get it notarized
And where did you put that letter?
in the glove box of his car,
What kind of car did he have?
a black Impala.
Did you ever see him drive a different car?
No, ma'am.
And did you ever see him let anyone else drive that Impala?
Besides me, no, ma'am.
And when you drove it, was he with you or let you drive it alone?
He was with me.
So you said you put the letter in the glove box?
Yes, ma'am.
Why was that?
Because I was going to the bank to get it notarized.
Do you remember when you put that in there?
Thursday, it was Thursday.
On Thursday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I believe I interrupted you, but you said on Thursday, what were you planning on doing on Thursday?
I was supposed to go to my mom's house and wash clothes,
And where in general did your mom live? What side of town?
northeast.
Okay. And how were you going to get there?
He was going to take me.
And did he take you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you able to wash your clothes?
No, ma'am.
And so what did you do because you couldn't wash your
I
clothes?
brought him back home to my house.
Was there anything significant that needed to be washed?
My work shirt,
Why did it need to be washed?
because I needed it for work.
So since you couldn't
I
wash
couldn't
it,
wash it at my mom's house.
so what did you do based on that?
I asked him if he could wash it at his sister's house.
And did he?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see him wash it or did he just take it?
He took it.
And was your daughter with you at this time?
No, ma'am.
Where was your daughter?
She was with my mom.
Was that normal or out of the ordinary?
It was normal.
So Thursday afternoon into Thursday night, where are you at?
At home.
With it?
Nate,
What are y'all doing?
watching TV.
And do you remember what you were watching?
Something on the Ion channel.
Something on the what?
Ion channel.
Ion channel, okay. And at what point did you, or do you go to bed?
It was around 12:01 in the
And did-
morning.
Earlier you said he didn't sleep with you. Did he sleep with you that night? And by sleeping, I mean literally going to sleep in your bed.
No,
Where were you?
in my bed,
Where was he when you went to sleep?
downstairs.
How do you know he was downstairs?
The TV was still on, and before I went to bed, I went back downstairs to make sure.
And what was he wearing on Thursday?
A gray Nike hoodie with the drawstrings and like the windbreaker sweatpants,
What color were the sweatpants?
like a navy blue.
And was it a hoodie or a sweatshirt
It was a thin shirt with a hood on it.
with a hood on it? Okay. So you said he's downstairs and you go to your room and go to sleep?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you go to sleep, he's downstairs?
Mhm.
You positive of that?
Unless he left, because he's good about leaving.
But when you last saw him, he was downstairs, is that?
Mhm.
I
Yes,
don't want to
ma'am.
put words in your mouth, but is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what time do you go to bed?
Around 1:32.
And at that point, he's downstairs at 1:30.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where, is he there when you wake up?
No,
And what time did you wake up?
I have to be to work around 7, so I wake up around 5:30, 6 o'clock.
And so around 5:30, 6 o'clock, he's not there.
No, ma'am.
Was that what you expected?
No,
What did you expect?
him to be there,
Why?
because he told me he was going to be there when I wake up.
And why, or had you asked him to be there when you woke up?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because I don't like staying by myself.
And had he made you any promises about staying?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he tell you?
That he would be there when I wake up,
But he wasn't.
but he wasn't.
So what did you do when you woke up and he wasn't there?
I called his phone and I texted him.
Did you get a response?
No,
Okay. So you said you called and you texted his phone. Did he have more than one phone or just one phone?
more than one phone.
Do you remember how many he had?
2.
Did you try to call both or
Yes,
just one?
ma'am.
Did you get a response on either phone?
No, ma'am.
So how did you feel about that?
I was upset because I knew I had to go to work and I don't like being late for work.
So what did you do?
I called my mom, and by the time I got off the phone with my mom, he was pulling in the driveway.
Do you remember what time that was?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Was it after you were supposed to have already been at work?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were supposed to be work at 7?
Yes, ma'am.
So what did you do how did you know he'd gotten there? Start there.
I looked out the window and I seen his car out there.
So could you see your front yard from your window?
Yes, ma'am. The
Which
front window. The front window.
Like your bedroom front window, your
The
living room?
living room.
Okay. So what do you do when you see him?
I went outside, asked him where my shirt was.
And I want to stop a little bit. When you see him pull up, what is he driving?
His black Impala.
And you go outside, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you say?
Where's my work shirt?
Because did you have your uniform?
I had my pants and my shoes on, but I didn't have my shirt because he was supposed to wash it.
And did he have it?
Yes, but it was wet.
It was wet. Did you tell him or say anything to him about that?
Yes, ma'am.
What'd you say?
Why is my shirt wet? When you said you was gonna dry my clothes, wash my shirt and dry it.
What'd he say?
Nothing really.
Okay. And let me ask you, were you real nice about the way you asked or were you upset?
I was upset.
And does he give you your shirt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you said that. And so what do you do at that point?
I asked him for my work hat.
And tell us what's your work hat?
It's like a sun visor with an M on it.
And I'm gonna repeat what you said because you mumbled a little bit. Did you say it was a visor?
Yes, with an M on it for McDonald's.
And where had you left that visor?
In the back window,
Of what?
his car.
Of what kind
Nick's
of car?
His Impala.
Okay. And when had you left it there?
The day before when he picked me up.
And where did you leave it?
In the back window.
So what, if anything, did you expect about that visor when he showed up? Where did you expect it to be?
In the window.
Was it?
No, ma'am.
Did you ask him about that?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he tell you?
That it was in the country.
And what did you say to that?
Why would it be in the country?
And what did he tell you?
It had blood on it.
I'm gonna need you to repeat that.
It had blood on it.
He told you that the visor had blood on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ask him, what'd you ask him?
Why would the hat have blood on it?
And what'd he tell you? You tell me.
Mind my business.
Mind your business. Did you ask him again?
Yes.
And what'd he tell you?
Mind my business.
So,
Wow. This is interesting. See, ladies, I'm watching this one along with you. Because when I first started watching, I kind of missed the beginning. I caught the ending of this trial. But shout out to the person that, suggested this, because I was thinking about it too. Suggested me, showing these trial recaps. But wow. So his answer was, mind your business. Wow. And look at him. You see him on the stand looking like, sitting in the chair like, what? What is she talking about? You know what she's talking about. Let's get it. Resume.
he had your shirt but not your hat, so what'd you do?
I called my job and told my boss that I was on the way, and she had an extra hat for me.
And so what'd you do?
I left my house to go to work.
Were you able to go straight to his car?
Yes. No.
What happened?
He left and said that he had to take his nephew to school.
So after he shows up, he leaves again?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you do when he left?
I went out the door and I shut the door behind me, and I didn't know I had unlocked the door. So I had to go to my neighbor's house and wait for him to get back
Where were your keys?
in his car.
And so you wait with your neighbor, I think you just said?
Yes, ma'am.
How long is he gone?
Like 10 minutes
How long, and you said he went to go get his nephew?
to take his nephew to school.
Do you know where was his nephew in the car?
No,
Do you know where his nephew lived?
on Rosewood.
How long does it take to go from your house to the nephew's house?
Like from Leesburg to Rosewood, that's like 30 minutes.
So did he
With
have
traffic.
time to go from your house to his nephew's in that 10 minutes?
No.
So he leaves and comes back.
Yes, ma'am.
Had he already given you your shirt at that point?
No.
So when does
I
he?
put my shirt on in the car.
So when you said he gave you back your shirt wet, was that before or after the first time he shows up at your house that morning?
The second time.
So the first time, I just want to make sure we got the timeline right. You ask him where it is,
Yes, ma'am.
and then the second time is when he actually gives it to you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And it's wet?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what do you do with your wet shirt?
I had to put it on because I had to get to work.
And does he take you to work?
We went to the convenience store because he had to get gas on Leesburg.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you notice about the car at that point?
That it was like dry blood in the car,
Where in the car?
on the dashboard and beside the seats,
When you say the dashboard, what are you talking about?
where the airbags are,
Like the console, the
Yes,
back of the
ma'am.
console? Okay. And where else did you see blood?
in the back seat.
In the back seat? Was anything else in the back seat?
It was a sheet over the back seat and the back of the driver's seat.
And how do you mean there was a sheet?
It was kind of like covering, but it wasn't all the way covering the seat.
Okay, was it like draped on the seat so you could see the outline of the seat, or was it above the seat, or
Just
describe that?
like through over the seat where you can't see.
Okay. Could you see anything in the back seat besides the sheet?
Blood
Where did you see blood then?
on the seat.
On the seat, okay. Not the part that was covered, or was it could you see through the sheet?
Like the part of the seat that wasn't covered, you could see blood.
Okay. What did you do when you saw the blood?
I asked him, why is it blood in the car? Did you hit a dog?
And what did he say?
Mind my business.
Did he tell you he hadn't had his car all day?
No.
Did he tell you where he'd been other than being in the country?
No.
So what did you do based on that?
After that, I went to work.
And who was supposed to pick you up from work that day?
He was supposed to pick me up.
How did y'all decide that?
I told him what time that I got off, and he said that he would be there to pick me up.
And I'm gonna need you to say that again because you mumbled up.
I told him what time I got off, and he said that he would be there, make sure he was there to pick me up.
And was he there to pick you up?
No.
And before that, did he tell you what he was going to go do while you were at work?
Clean his car.
Did he have your keys?
Yes.
Why did he still have your keys?
Because I was worried about getting to work, and he looked like he was sleepy, so I let him get the key to go in the house to go to sleep.
Did you all talk about him being tired or sleepy?
No.
You just thought he was.
The way he looked.
And so you go to work, how did you get home if he
A
didn't? show up?
coworker brought me home.
Coworker brought you home? Is that out of the ordinary for a coworker to take you home?
No,
But this day, that wasn't supposed to
that
happen.
wasn't supposed to happen.
So what did you do when you got home?
I banged on the door
Why?
because I didn't have my key, and he didn't pick me up from work, and I was mad.
All right. And I just realized I didn't ask you something. When he picked you up, what was he wearing? When he picked you up to take you to work, what was he wearing?
The same clothes,
The same clothes from when?
Thursday.
When you got home and banged on the door, did he answer?
Yes,
And what happened when he came to the door?
he looked shook,
And what do you mean by look shook?
like he seen a ghost.
And how did you bang on that door?
Hard like the police.
Banged on it like the police.
Mhm.
And when he looked shook?
Mhm.
He showed up?
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
What did he have on when he came to the door looking shook?
The same clothes.
And what did you do once you got in the house?
I went and took my shower and everything from work.
Did he take a shower?
No,
Did you say anything about that?
yes, ma'am.
What'd you say?
Why you still have the same clothes on? Why you haven't washed your ass?
Say it again.
Why you haven't washed his ass?
You asked him why he hadn't washed his.
Ass. Yes, ma'am.
Did he respond?
No.
So what did you do after you got out of the shower?
I put my clothes on and I went outside
And what was he doing?
cleaning the car,
Did you all cleaning the car how?
like scrubbing it with something.
Could you tell what he was cleaning it
It
with?
smelled like, the car smelled like chlorine.
And I'm gonna break that down. You say it smelled like chlorine. When did you first notice it smelled like chlorine? When you were going to work or after you
After I got off work.
Where you said you went outside, were you standing by the car? Like how?
Yes, ma'am.
So what were y'all's plans that day?
To go to my mom's house.
You said, and I interrupted you, said he was cleaning and you could smell chlorine?
It was bleach, but it was so strong it smelled like chlorine.
Did you see him in the car cleaning or what did you see?
The bleach bottles on the seat and the doors open.
All right, did you help him clean?
No,
Why not?
it's not my car.
So, did you see him taking any items out of the car?
No.
Do y'all get back in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that point, who's driving when you get back in?
I was.
Why?
I needed to go to my mom's house and get my rent money.
All right. And when you get in the car, did you have to do anything with the seat?
I had to adjust the seat
Why?
to my height.
Does his seat, is it upright or laid back?
When he's driving, it's laid back, but when I drive, it's up
And so where do you go?
to my mom's house.
And you're driving?
Yes.
Do you stop anywhere?
I had to go to the ATM,
Okay. And while you're driving, what is he doing?
cleaning the car, still,
Still with what?
like some type of wipes.
Did you ask him about that?
Yeah.
What'd you ask him?
Where do you get them from? Why are you cleaning the car with wipes?
What'd he say?
Mind my business.
And what, if anything, does he have on his hands when he's doing this?
He had like the surgical gloves,
What do you mean by
the
surgical?
blue surgical gloves,
And did you see him clean anything besides the interior of the car?
this little hunter's knife-like thing.
I'm going to show you what's been marked. It states it. I'm going to show you what's been marked as states exhibit number 13 and ask if you recognize that.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
The thing that he was cleaning.
And does that fairly and accurately depict the way it looked when you saw it?
Yes, ma'am.
This time I've asked to introduce states exhibit number 13 into evidence. There you are.
That's it.
So this is what you saw him cleaning?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was he doing this?
While I was driving down the road.
Had you ever seen him pull that tool out and clean it before that night?
No, ma'am.
So, had you seen him with that previously?
He showed it to me, but it wasn't open.
Okay, so this wasn't the first time you'd seen it, it was the first time you'd seen it open.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
So you're driving around and he's cleaning the tool in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you go to your mom's
Yes, ma'am.
and were you able to get the money?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. What do you do after that?
I went back home to Mountain Brook and to wait on my landlord to pay my rent.
All right. At any point, do you leave again?
No.
Where's your daughter?
She was at daycare.
Do you ever have to go get her that day?
Yes, because I forgot she was at daycare. I was so tired.
So who was supposed to pick her up?
My mom was supposed to pick her up.
Did she?
But she didn't.
So what did you have to do because of that?
I had to drive his car to go get her.
Did he go with you?
Yes.
And so you go to, what side of town was she located?
Killian.
Killian? Okay, so you go there and pick her up?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, where does she sit?
In the back, on the passenger side, in her seat.
In her seat?
Her
Can
car
you-
seat. It's a bucket seat.
So when you say a bucket seat, is it like a booster seat
A
or?
booster seat, not the infant seat.
All right, so was it behind the driver or behind the
The
passenger?
passenger.
All right, did you put her in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there any conversation between you and Mr. Rowland about her getting in the car?
He told me he don't want her in the car, but I had no choice but to go get her
Did he tell you why?
because there was blood in the car.
So, but you have to go get her, you said?
Mhm.
So what did you do?
I went and got my baby.
Okay. And does she get in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do y'all go after you pick her up?
We went back home.
So does she stay with you the rest of the night?
Yes, ma'am.
Does Mr. Rowland?
No.
Does anyone else come to your house that night or into the morning?
His friends.
Do you remember who came over?
I don't remember one of them name, but one of them name was,
Yeah, speak up.
I don't remember the name, but two people had came to the house.
Were they there to see you or Mr.
They
Rowland?
was there to see him.
Did they speak and talk?
Yeah, we conversated.
All right. And did they stay or leave?
They left because they was going out.
Who was going out?
All the three of them.
All, including Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Were you planning on going out?
No.
Did they say where they were going?
5 Points.
Was that unusual for him to go to 5 Points?
No.
When he left, what car did he leave in?
His car, the info.
What, if anything, did you say to him?
Why would you drive that car with blood in it?
Any response?
No.
Do you remember what time they left?
It was early morning.
What do you mean by early morning?
It was after 12 o'clock, so it was another day.
Do you know exactly what time?
No.
Okay. And let me ask you this. What, if anything, was he wearing when he left to go out with his friends?
He had changed clothes and put on a gray Puma sweatsuit.
Did you see him change clothes?
No.
And I want to ask you, what, if anything, did he have in terms of a phone when you saw him on Friday?
It was a phone in his car, and I asked him where did he get it from because it looked like a female phone.
And why do you say it looked like a female?
It was a rose gold iPhone, and it was in perfect condition.
All right. And where was it located?
It's a button that you mash, and the radio thing go up. It was in there.
So is there like a holder or something beside it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And so that's where it was.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ask him where that phone was from?
I asked him where did he get it from.
What did he tell
He
you?
found it.
And you stated again, what kind of condition was it in?
It was in perfect condition.
Did it look like it'd been dropped?
No.
Did it look like it'd been in the dirt?
No.
Did he ask you, or did he tell you anything about what he planned to do with that phone?
He said he was trying to get it flashed over for me, but I don't do iPhones.
What do you like?
I like Androids.
All right. So you didn't need that phone?
No.
And did you have a phone?
Yes, ma'am.
So he leaves.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Does he come back to your house after he leaves with his friends?
No.
When is the next time you know anything about this case? What do you see?
When it was on the news, I seen that she was missing, and then they showed the clip of his car.
And what did you think when you saw the car?
It all makes sense to me now.
What do you mean by that?
The blood, she's missing, that's his car.
How'd you know it was his car?
Because it had mud on the back by the fender.
And why didn't you call the police at that moment?
I was scared.
So what did you do? Did you go to work?
No,
Why not?
because I had to get myself together, so I faked my baby being sick to take her to doctor's care so I could get myself together.
Who took you?
His brother.
And what, if anything, did you say to him about the car? Or there being blood in it?
That looks like Nate's car.
And did police ever come speak with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was that?
The first time they came, I forgot what day it was, but I had did a double shift, and they came and woke me up out my sleep. And then they came back 2 to 3 days later, but I was off, so I was recuperated.
So I'm going to start with the first time you speak with them. I think you just told the jury you had a double shift. What was a double shift?
I worked over 12 hours that day.
Over 12 hours?
Yes, ma'am.
And you went home and went to sleep?
Yes, ma'am.
And they woke you up?
Yes, ma'am.
So were you tired or well rested when you
I
talked?
was tired, exhausted.
And were you trying to be helpful when you talked to them?
I was.
Were you able to tell them everything at that point?
I thought I told them what I could at the time.
Did they do a question like I'm doing with you, or was it just talk to them?
It was just talking.
Did you leave out some things?
Yeah,
Did you do it on purpose?
no.
And you said they talked to you another time, and at that point you had some sleep.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you talk to them?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you try to tell them everything you could?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And they asked to look at your phone. Did you let them?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember what they did with your phone?
And I just know they had it for a long time.
They took it from you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, they took it from you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did they give it back to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any problems with that?
No.
What, if anything, did they do at your house?
They searched my house.
Did you have any problems with that?
No.
Do you remember if his phone was working on the 28th and the 29th? Could you call it?
No.
Why not?
The bill was supposed to be paid, and he didn't pay the bill, so he was using my Wi-Fi
What do you mean by using your Wi-Fi?
to use the internet.
So,
He would connect the phone to the Wi-Fi for the
so
internet.
the phones worked.
Yeah, they work, but you just had to be connected to the Wi-Fi.
And I'm gonna ask you, I'm skipping around a little bit, make sure I covered everything. When you came home from being at McDonald's and he didn't pick you up, so this would be the 28th, and you said you knocked on the door, he looked shook. Could you tell if he'd been asleep?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know?
I could tell when he been asleep. Like, he got this look where you can tell a person been asleep.
And where had he been sleeping, could you tell that?
He was in my room, but he wasn't on my bed
How could you tell that?
because the cover and stuff was on the floor.
And on the floor?
Yes, ma'am.
And were his clothes clean or dirty?
Dirty.
Could you tell what was on them?
Blood.
You could see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever notice anything about, what if anything did you notice about Chloe's shoes after she got out of his car?
When I took her to doctor's care and she was sitting on the table, she had blood on the bottom of her shoes.
And so what did you do?
I took them off from her and threw them in the closet.
In your house, when they searched it, did they find any marijuana or any edibles?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
So did you smoke marijuana back then?
Back then I did.
Did Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Beg the court's indulgence.
What do you wrote over there, sir? Do you think you've proven something? You're not getting anywhere. You did it to this woman. See, this is what killed me about these clowns. These Dusties, these lowlifes. Oh, it's back on.
When he was sleeping and looking shook, I think I said the wrong date. It was the 29th, correct? The 28th was Thursday.
Yeah, this was Friday.
Okay, that's my bad. I said that. I'm sorry. So on the 29th is when you knocked on the door and he looked shook.
Yes,
He was
ma'am.
sleeping on the floor.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And to clarify, you said his brother, was it his blood brother or someone he called brother that took you to doctor's care?
I don't know if it's his blood brother or not, but he called him his brother.
Oh, he called him his brother?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then,
So you sleeping with this man, and you don't know if that's his brother or not, but he calls him his brother? And bring around your child too. Something like that, I think you should have known. You know, ladies, sometimes ladies get involved with these men, and they don't know nothing about them. But they opening their legs to these men. And then when something happens, they get so shocked, like, oh my gosh. Why you never ask your man questions or find out about him? Some women don't even know where their man work at, where they live. There's some women that never been over to their man's house. No, not at all. There's some women that never seen their man out in the daytime. If you know what I mean, because they only coming by late night, they, for some sex. Or 9 to 10, they have someone else. And you're just a side woman, a mistress, a jump off, or whatever. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in. That was very interesting when she said that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back and, please, date smart, not thirsty. All right, resume.
you said that he was cleaning the car. Can you tell the jury, where is your trash can outside dumpsters in relation to your house? Are they in the front yard, the backyard?
The backyard.
In the backyard?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you get to those dumpsters, do you have to go through your house?
You don't have to. You can go around the fence.
Is there anything that could keep you from being able to go in the dumpster?
No.
So if someone's out front, they can go to the back
Yes, ma'am.
and they can put stuff in the dumpster.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you put anything in the dumpster between Friday and Saturday?
No, ma'am.
They can work with it. All right, did you ever see him wear head coverings? Like a do-rag or a bandana?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he wear?
He would wear like a toboggan, a scully, a black one, and a do-rag.
Showing you what's already been marked as State's Exhibit number 11.
Yes, ma'am.
Does this look familiar?
Yes, ma'am.
What is this?
A do-rag.
And is this what he was wearing?
Yes, ma'am.
What about State's Exhibit?
I've never seen it.
Never seen that one. But you've seen this one.
Yes, ma'am.
And did he always wear bandanas on his head?
The black one, yes.
Okay. And what about pullover hoodies?
Hoodies, yes.
And you said when he was cleaning, did you ever see him throw away or put items in a bag? In the car? Was he when he was cleaning the car?
Oh, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
What was he doing with them?
He was putting them, like, the wipes that he done use in a trash bag, like a grocery store bag.
Like, what do you mean by grocery store bag?
Like the plastic bags that you get from the grocery store.
He was putting them in that?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. I'm going to show you what the mark that states Exhibit 14 and ask if you recognize that.
Yes, this is the letter that I had typed.
Can you
To,
just speak in the microphone?
this is the letter that I had typed to my daughter's cousin.
And is that the eviction letter?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you leave that letter?
In the glove box.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of what you left in the glove box?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd ask to introduce State's Exhibit 14 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
It's admitted.
So this is the letter that you left in his vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you leave it?
In the glove box.
And what was it in?
An envelope.
And it was in an envelope.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember what kind of shoes, I asked you about clothing, what kind of shoes he was wearing?
Nike slides.
What do you mean by slides? Just, some people call them flip-flops.
Yes.
So what are slides? Do
Nike slides that you just slide your feet in.
you remember what color?
Red and black.
Red and black. So just a few more. So the night, I guess it's the morning of the 29th. The morning, so y'all gone to bed, it's 1:30 in the morning. What does he have on?
The grayish hoodie, Nike hoodie, and the windbreaker pants.
And you said, did he get in the bed with you with all that on?
No,
How did he get in the bed, or did he?
he would take the pants off.
And did he get in the bed with you that night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And earlier you said at some point he was downstairs. Did he get out of the bed and go downstairs?
Yeah.
Where did the pants go?
They was like when he take his pants off, they would be beside the bed.
When you got up
When
the
he
next
got up, he put them back on.
And when he got up to go downstairs, he put them back on?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please the court.
right, Ms. Howard, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. You moved into that Mountain Brook apartment, would that have been beginning of March?
Yes, ma'am.
Around maybe March 9th?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right? And the time frame that we're talking about here today is about 3 weeks later, is that right?
That sounds right.
Okay. And at this point, at some point between the time you move into the Mountain Brook apartment on March 9th and March 28th is when you say that Nate comes through the drive-through when you're at work.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't know the exact day that is?
No.
So, but within that 3-week period.
Yes, ma'am.
And that night that is it nighttime when he drives
Yes.
through? And that night he comes over, brings you home,
Yes, ma'am.
and ends up leaving.
Yes, ma'am.
But he comes back that night,
That morning.
the
to
next
take me to
morning.
work.
So he didn't stay with you that night?
No.
So he came back the next morning and took you to work,
Yes, ma'am.
and you don't know what day that is?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. And did that same day that, I guess the first morning that would have been that he took you to work, did he pick you up from work that day?
Yes.
He did, okay. Now, we've talked a lot about Nate's car and what you are saying you saw in that car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you told the jury that you drove that car, right?
I drove it to my mom's house.
And that was the day that he was late picking you up for work?
Yes, ma'am.
And when he did pick you up for work that morning, when he was late picking you up, you're telling us that you saw blood in the car that morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're saying it was dry blood.
Yes, ma'am.
And you got in the car, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And he drove you to work.
Yes, ma'am.
And made a stop along the way.
We went to the store to get gas.
You got gas. And then he drops you off at work.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said your shirt is wet, so you put on a wet shirt to go to work.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Later that same day, you get back in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
You're driving this time
To go to Northeast.
with blood in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point, you put your child in that car.
Yes.
Put her in the back seat, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Her car seat's back there,
Yes,
her
ma'am.
booster seat.
Yes.
Had that booster seat, was that in there it was in the car the morning when he picked you up for work, right?
Yes.
And on the driver's side?
The passenger
It's
side.
on the passenger side. So it was behind the
The
passenger
passenger seat.
seat in the back seat.
Yes, ma'am.
And you could see that.
Yes, ma'am.
And so later that day, you put your daughter Chloe, you put her in the car,
That was at night. And I had went and picked her up from daycare.
in that seat,
Yes, ma'am.
and you say she gets blood on her shoe
Yes, ma'am.
from the back seat.
From stepping on the floorboard.
Okay. And in this, I'm saying 3 weeks because we're using the time frame of you moving into the Mountain Brook apartment and then March 29th. So about 20 days, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The majority of the time when you two are hanging out, you're at your apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't go anywhere else.
We would stop by his sister's house.
Stop by his sister's house.
Yes, ma'am.
But as far as going out anywhere,
We didn't.
I know friends of his would come over to your house
Yes.
Just
They only
that-
came over that one time.
that one time. So for that short period of time that you guys are romantically involved, you would be in the car but then drive to your house and stay.
Yes.
And you testified that he would come to your house and stay but not stay the night?
Most of the time, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, but he would be there when you would wake up in the morning?
He would make, yes.
Okay. And on how many occasions would you say that was what happened, that he didn't stay the night with you?
When I go to sleep,
For the people that got this far, hit the like if you forgot. And also the ones who might be just popping in, hit the like. And make sure you catch the beginning of it. All right, let's get back to it.
that's when he would leave.
And you're a hard sleeper,
Yes, ma'am.
and you're sure that he would leave.
Yes, ma'am. Because when I wake up to go to the bathroom, he wouldn't be there.
He wouldn't be
In the house.
In the house. And you have a bathroom upstairs?
Yes, ma'am.
And your bedroom is upstairs?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would be the bathroom that you would go to?
Yes, ma'am.
You remember telling this jury
That
on
he was downstairs.
on direct that he would be sleeping downstairs,
Yes, ma'am.
and would always be the setup if he would stay?
Until a couple of weeks after When we first started talking, a couple weeks after I started letting him sleep upstairs.
Okay, so he had slept upstairs with you?
Yes, ma'am.
In your bed? But you told the jury on the night of the 28th, that Thursday leading into the 29th, which is that Friday morning. Remember, you told us on direct that he went downstairs to sleep on the couch.
Yes, ma'am.
So he didn't stay with you in your bed that night.
No.
And you go to bed that night between 12 and 1 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is, again, Thursday night, but going into Friday morning hours,
Yes, ma'am.
early morning. You remember speaking with Investigator Blackman.
Yes.
You actually spoke to him at least once, and then you spoke to another investigator with Fled.
Yes, ma'am.
And you remember telling them that you fell asleep in your bed,
Yes, ma'am.
and that was around 1:30, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, you both were in bed watching TV together.
Yes, ma'am.
You're watching it on, I think it's Chloe's maybe
Her
tablet,
tablet. Yes, ma'am.
and had been watching something maybe on Disney Channel,
Yes, ma'am.
and you fell asleep about 1:30.
Yes, ma'am.
Had even posted something on Snapchat.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay. And you told us today he's wearing a gray Nike hoodie
Yes, ma'am.
and windbreaker type pants,
Yes, ma'am.
blue,
Yes, ma'am.
and he had been wearing some slides
Yes, ma'am.
and some socks.
Yes, ma'am.
And that he is downstairs in your apartment at 1:30.
No, he was in the bed with me.
So now you're saying he was in the bed with you?
Yes.
Okay. A little confusing. I think on direct you told us he was downstairs at 1:30.
He was with me in bed.
He was with you in bed. Okay. And you told us that when you wake up the next morning, he's not there.
He's not.
And you told us previously that was something, I mean,
He
you didn't have to be to
normally
work until 7, right?
Mhm. Yes,
And this
ma'am.
was, you woke up between 5:30 and 6 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
And the plan was that he would come back to take you to work.
He was supposed to stay.
He was supposed to stay that night?
Yes. That night, he was supposed to stay. He told me he was gonna stay the night with me.
Okay.
He wasn't leaving.
Okay. And previously, he had not stayed the night with you?
No, he always end up leaving early morning when I go to sleep.
When you would go to sleep? But this particular night, he told you he was going to stay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you told us on direct that he told you he would be there when you woke up. That's what you're
Yes,
saying? Okay.
that means he was gonna be in the house with me when I wake up.
Gotcha. That's how you took it?
Yes.
Okay. And whenever you woke up and he wasn't there, that's when you start calling him?
Yes, ma'am.
And no response?
No,
No text? The text
it didn't go through.
didn't go through? And that's because
His phone was off.
his phones were off, no service?
No service.
He had to connect to your Wi-Fi.
Or Wi-Fi anywhere else.
If you went out to eat, use the Wi-Fi at the
Wi-Fi, mhm.
restaurant, or if he's at someone's house, connected their Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And that was the same situation for your house?
Yes.
You had
Wi-Fi.
wireless internet at your house?
Yes, ma'am.
And he would connect to that wireless internet? And you're upset with him because he's not there,
Right.
and you have to go to work, right?
Right.
You're gonna be late,
And I don't like being late for work.
and that's understandable. And he, at this point, he's got the key to your apartment.
Yes. When I went to my mom's house, I left the key in his car.
You left the key in his car.
Yes.
Was it on, it's on a key ring,
Yes.
along with other keys,
Yes.
including your mom's keys
Those are my mom's keys.
to her house?
Yes.
And that was what was left in his car?
Yes.
Okay. And you're telling us today that he had your shirt for work,
Yes.
and he had taken it to
His
get washed.
sisters to wash it.
And that was the plan the night before?
Yes.
He had told you he was gonna do that?
Yes.
And when he brought it back,
It wasn't dry.
it wasn't dry, it was wet.
Yes.
And you had gone the day before, though, to your mom's house.
Right. But I
With
was
the purpose
supposed to
of
wash
doing laundry.
clothes, but it didn't go as planned.
It didn't go as planned. Okay. One second. When he comes to get you, what time exactly is he back at your house?
I don't know the exact time.
But it was after 7 o'clock?
Yes.
Because you had to be at
Because I
work
had to
at
be to
7.
work at 7.
And do you know what time you actually got to work that day?
Like 7:45.
7:45. And so it was sometime between, we know, 7 and 7:45.
Yes,
He's
ma'am.
at your house. And that's the first time.
Yes.
And he leaves.
He left.
He's gone for, you
Like
say about 10
10
minutes? And that's when he comes back with the shirt.
Yes,
Okay. Had you asked him about the shirt before he left?
yes, and he said, I got your shirt. I gotta take my nephew to school. I'll be right back.
Be right back. And he came right back 10 minutes later?
10 minutes later.
Okay. And at this point, is the sun up?
Yes,
It's come up. And you get in his car, right?
Yes.
And immediately, you're telling us you noticed the blood?
No.
Not immediately?
no, I didn't notice it until we got to the store to get gas.
Okay. And is that when you asked him about
Yes.
that? Okay. And at what point do you notice this sheet over the back
When we
seat?
was at the store.
At the store?
Yes.
Are you in the back seat looking around?
No.
You're not in the back seat?
I was in the front seat, in the passenger seat, and I turned around.
Okay. And Chloe's seat's back there?
Yes,
In the passenger seat?
behind the passenger
Behind
seat.
the passenger seat? And you can see that?
Yes,
It's not covered up by the sheet?
no,
And the sheet, you say it's draped over the back seat,
yes,
like hanging over kind of the driver side and then
over the back.
over the back, but not over Chloe's seat.
No, her seat was on top of the sheet.
Her sheet's on top of the sheet. And he doesn't tell you anything
No.
about what happened? And you just go to work?
Yeah.
Expecting him to come pick you back up?
Yes,
He's got the key to your house still.
yep,
So when you get home, you testified the door's locked?
Yes.
You can't get inside?
No.
You still can't get him to answer the phone?
no.
Phone's
So
still
I
not
just-
working?
The car's in the driveway, so I knew he was in the house, so I started banging on the door.
Phone's still not working?
No,
Gives you that, the user, what's the, would you get a message, a lady's voice?
Yes.
And it would tell you this number's not in service?
Yes.
Okay. And you said, told the jury on direct that when you got home, you took a shower
yes.
right after work. Is that right?
Yes.
And that Mr. Rowland, that Nate is outside cleaning his car.
When I went in the house, he came out the door.
And what time of day is this?
I got off at like 2:30 that day.
Okay.
And it takes at least 30 minutes to get from the McDonald's to my house.
About 30-minute drive?
Yes.
Okay. And he's outside at this point?
Yes,
And you know that? You see that?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't go out there to help him?
I went outside to talk to him. And that's when I smelled the bleach.
You smelled
and
the
seen
bleach.
the bottles in the backseat.
And again, you ask him, what are you doing?
Yes,
What's going on?
and he wouldn't tell me.
He doesn't tell you. And you don't call the police.
No,
You, at that point, make a plan to go to your mom's house.
yes,
You need to get rent money.
yes,
And she lives out in Sand Hills.
yes,
And that's another maybe 30-minute drive or so?
yes,
And you get back in the car, right?
Yeah.
This time you're driving.
yes,
You'll make a stop at the ATM, get your rent money, right?
yeah,
And you do go to your mom's house.
yes,
Again, you've got the key to your mom's house.
Yes.
It's on the key ring that he's got. And that's the 29th, that Friday, right? You get
yeah.
back, the landlady's at your house, you need to pay,
and I paid my rent.
okay. And this is when you say, you told us on direct that's when you see Nate put gloves on, right?
When we left my house the first time to go to my mom's
Mm-hmm.
house, we was going down Beltline, and he put the gloves on because he was cleaning with wipes
In the car.
in the car.
And you don't drive to the police station?
No.
You don't call the police?
No.
He's in there cleaning a car, right?
Right,
He's got wipes, or he's got gloves on, right?
right,
And wipes, right?
Right.
And he is wiping down his car.
yes,
And at some point, he pulls out this hunting knife,
right,
the picture we saw here, this multi-tool, right?
right.
And you say he begins cleaning that.
Right.
Where does he pull it out from?
The pocket in the side of the door,
On the passenger side?
on the passenger side.
Passenger side. And you said you've seen it before.
Right,
He had it and pulled it out and showed it to you for
But
whatever
it wasn't
reason.
open.
Wasn't open. And you told us that you forgot that Chloe was at daycare?
yes, because I was so tired, I went home.
Yep. And this was, at this point, this would be closer to 8 o'clock at night?
Yes.
So it's dark,
It's dark,
it's getting late. Like you said, you're tired.
yes.
And again, you drive
I had
the car.
no choice but to drive that car to go get my daughter.
Your mom didn't go get her.
No,
So you get, again, back in his car,
and go get my child.
drive his car, right?
Yes,
To go get your daughter.
yes,
And he allows you to drive it.
yes, because he was with me.
And again, her seat is still in the car.
Yes,
In the back passenger seat?
Yes.
Behind
Behind the
where?
passenger seat.
Now Nate is sitting in the passenger seat.
Yes.
That's right. Y'all end up back at your house.
Yes.
Chloe stays the night. Nate ends up leaving. Is that
Yeah.
right? His friends come over though before he heads out.
Yeah.
And y'all have a cookout at your house?
It wasn't a cookout.
Wasn't a cookout?
No.
So y'all just hanging out at your house?
Yes, that was just in the yard. Like, it's concrete slabs where the cars park at, and then everybody was just outside.
Drinking?
No,
Nobody's drinking?
no,
You didn't tell either Investigator Blackman or Investigator Grant that he came back with some Hennessy?
no,
You don't remember saying that?
no, I don't.
And you said to the jury on direct that whenever the plan for Nate and his two friends to go to 5 Points, that you asked him, why would you drive that car with blood in it?
Right,
You asked him that.
yes, I did.
Because why would somebody drive a car with blood in it? Right. And he leaves sometime after midnight. Right? You tell us that he had changed clothes at some point.
Yes,
You didn't see when and where he changed clothes.
no,
Had he left? Had he left at some point?
yes,
So he left your house, your apartment,
yes,
and came back in different clothes?
yes,
No idea, you don't know where he went?
no.
Okay. I do want to ask you this. So you told the jury, you're telling us that you did not help do any sort of cleanup of that car.
No,
So it would surprise you if your DNA is found anywhere on any of the items used to clean up.
he got them out of my house. So of course my DNA gonna be on it. That's my cleaning stuff. It was in my house.
Would we expect it anywhere else?
No,
Beg the court's indulgence. Just a few more questions, I think. So you met with Investigator Blackman, sitting right here. Is that right? You met with him, I believe the date was April 3rd, and you may not remember the exact date, but we'll say April 3rd, okay? And you met with him for quite some time.
yes,
And I believe there was another investigator in the room as well,
LA,
a lady investigator. And they asked you all kinds of questions.
yes,
They asked you about your daughter being in the car,
yes,
your daughter sitting in the car seat, in her booster seat, in the back seat that has the blood in it, right?
right. Where else was she gonna sit? She can't sit in the front seat.
Right. And you told the investigator at that point that you didn't know that there was blood in the back seat.
And that probably was the day that I was tired and wore out. But when I talked to them again, I cleared it up.
Okay? And you told him if you had known there was blood in the car, you never would have put her in there. Is that right?
Right.
And you told him that on April 3rd. Is that right?
I don't recall the exact date.
But the first time you met with him.
Yeah,
And I believe he asks you, or basically confronts you on that and says you already knew when you put your daughter in the car that there was blood in there, right? That you were putting your daughter in the back seat and there was blood in there.
yeah,
And you tell him, I wanted to see if Nate was going to tell me the truth about it with her being in the car. Is that right?
yes,
And you put your daughter in this car, right?
yes.
Did you know about any other females that Nate was seeing?
No,
So you believe that you were the only
Yep.
female? And you eventually find out that he had been talking to other females?
No.
You didn't figure that out?
No.
You didn't find that out? And you met with the investigators April 3rd, and then met with them again a few days later, after you say you had slept and rested.
Yep.
And I kind of want to go through a little timeline here. So they show up at your house
right,
the first time that you talk to them.
right,
They bring you down to the police station
yes,
and question you for quite some time.
right,
They get a buccal swab of your DNA,
Yes.
swab your mouth, and they take your phone.
Yep.
They want to search your phone.
Let's use words.
oh, yes,
While you're there, investigator Blackman tells you they got a search warrant for your house,
right,
and that you're going to go with them to the house
yes,
while this search warrant is happening.
right,
And prior to that, before you go to the house when the search warrant is happening, is when you tell investigators you didn't see the blood, you didn't know about the blood until later that day, right?
right,
After they do the search warrant at your house, then on April 6th, 3 days later, they bring you back in.
right,
They start asking you questions again.
right,
And that's when you give them a little more information.
right.
And you're saying now because you were
I was tired.
better rested.
And I was better rested a couple of days after because I had days off.
Back and forth a little.
Please put that mask on. Oh my gosh. Cover half of that face. Ugh.
Any further questions?
I apologize, Your Honor. There's a few more questions. I'll be done. Nate didn't keep things at your house,
No.
right? Didn't keep clothing items at your house,
No.
shoes,
No.
any personal items.
No,
Those were mainly in his car.
no, I didn't never see clothes in his car. They was in
Never
his
saw
sister's
clothes in his
house.
car. And he told you that night that he was going to stay.
Yes.
And this, previously though, he didn't stay.
What night are you talking about?
Talking about the night of the 28th into the 29th.
So that's Thursday into
Thursday to
Friday.
Friday.
Yes,
That was the first night he was going to stay the whole night with you.
right,
Previously, he had not done that.
right,
Just this one night
Right.
was the exception. Thank you. I have no questions.
So Ms. Howard, let's clarify some things. That one night that you asked him, why did you ask him to stay that night?
because I don't like staying by myself and I was so far in the country on Leesburg. My family is already on the other side of town.
Who was normally with you at night?
Chloe,
And did you have a roommate?
yes,
So this night you asked him to stay, why?
because nobody was home with me.
Okay. Now that we cleared that up, what about, she asked you,
No
I'm
commentary
sorry.
regarding the testimony, just ask questions.
Yes, sir. Ms. Good asked you about the search of your house.
Right,
Did they ever give you the search return from what they took to your house?
no,
Why not? Did you ask them for it?
no,
Did you want it?
no,
Did you know what they took from your house?
no,
Did you know they found that tool at your house in the trash?
no,
Did you know they found bloody clothes in your house, in your trash?
Objection, Your Honor.
No,
Leading.
Objection sustained.
What, if anything, did you know about the bloody clothes they found at your house?
I knew about it when they pulled it out of the trash can and they asked me about it.
When they asked you about it?
Yes.
Did you know prior to that?
No,
But she asked you about a conversation you had with Mr. Blackman about Nate and your child being in the car. She asked you about wanting to see if he would tell you the truth. Did that happen?
no.
Okay, what did happen when you put your child in the car?
We got in the car and we went back home
And why, if there was blood everywhere in your car, why did you get back in it?
because I had no choice. How else was I gonna get home?
And why did you let your child get in the car?
She had to come home.
Couldn't you have called your mother?
My mama was asleep. She's a school teacher. She's not gonna get up at that time of night.
And when you stated that the first time you saw blood was on the way to work when you stopped at the gas station,
Right.
why didn't you get out of the car then?
I was worried about getting to work.
Who, if anyone else, pays the bills in your house?
I pay the bills.
So how would you pay the bills if you didn't go to work?
Exactly.
She asked you about stating, why would he drive the car? Was the question, why would he drive the car, or why would he drive the car to 5 points?
Why would you drive the car? Period.
And why did you drive the car?
Because I had no choice but to go get my rent money, so I have a place for my child to stay and to go get my child.
And when you see all this blood, and she asked you about him cleaning, why didn't you call the police when he's cleaning everything?
Because I was scared.
What were you scared
For
of?
my life. Well, I don't know what's gonna happen.
She asked you about the plans to go wash your clothes. What were you supposed to do at your mother's house?
Wash clothes.
Why didn't that happen?
Because she was leaving.
Anything wrong with, why didn't you just stay and wash your clothes?
I didn't want to stay in her house.
So what was the plan based on that?
I was supposed to wash clothes while she was there and go back home. But she was leaving, so I wasn't gonna do it.
So what became the plan of what to do with your uniform at that
He
point?
was gonna wash my shirt at his sister's house.
And she asked you about, let's go talk about his sister's house. You stated this, I believe, but did he keep clothes at your house?
No,
So at some point he changed his clothes? Did you see him change his clothes?
no,
Did you see where he put the clothes he had on?
no.
All right. Now let's talk about those clothes a little bit. You said gray, was it dark gray or light gray?
Like a dark gray color.
Okay. And the pants, were they dark or light?
Dark.
And these are the pants that he had on. When did he have those pants on?
Since Thursday.
And did he have his clothes on Friday when he picked you up to take you to work?
Yes,
And when you got home?
he had the same clothes on.
And the person who was wearing those clothing, is he in that courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is he?
Sitting right there.
I need you to look at him, identify
Sitting
him.
right there.
What does he have on?
A red shirt.
Let the record reflect she's identified the defendant, Your Honor. Is that the same person you saw driving the black Impala on the 27th, the 28th, the 29th?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Rowland, where did he keep his phones? On his person or in his car?
On him.
And was the phone locked, or could you just pick up his phone and use it?
No, he had a lock on his phone.
How do you know that?
Because once you hit the power button, it asks you for a code. And then our iPhone, you have to use his face or his thumb.
His face or his thumb, all right. And that was on the iPhone?
Yeah.
All right. And in asking him about the blood in the car, what did you ask him about that?
I asked, why is there blood in the car?
And what was the response?
My business.
And what about a dog? What did you think?
I asked him to try to be funny, did you hit a dog and put the dog in the car?
And what was the response?
No,
What, if anything, did he ever give you as a reason why there was blood in his car?
he didn't really give me a reason.
And when you saw his car, I believe you said earlier you saw his car at some point on the news,
Yes, ma'am.
and I believe you said you put two and two together.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you again explain to the jury why you didn't call the police then?
Because I was scared.
Scared of what?
For my life and my child.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything further?
Yeah.
Okay.
You had no choice but to get in that car,
Right.
right? You had no choice but to get in that car and go get your rent money.
Right.
You had no choice but to get in that car to go pick up your
my
daughter.
child.
You had choice, though, when you got in that car and went to pick up cigarettes later on.
No.
Yes, Your Honor. Goes beyond the scope of redirect. No further questions.
Thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a 15-minute break. Please do not discuss the case. Wait for the jury to leave. Addressing the jury only. We'll be in recess for 15 minutes.
Okay, well, that's just the end of this clip. I'm just letting this just play out because they told me going on recess. And there's another clip I'm going to show, and I'll record that one, and it's going to be still on day 2, and that'll be the last of day 2. Then we get into day 3. Now, I would love to know, what is he over there saying to his own lawyer? What could you be saying to her? There's nothing going to change it. Blood was in the car. That's it. You did it, sir. But you see, these criminal-minded, these sickos, these psychopaths, narcissists, sociopaths, all of them, they just so delusional. They think they're going to get away with stuff. They think they're smarter than everybody else. And we're the fools, and they're not. But sorry, honey. You're the fool, unfortunately. You're the fool. So, stay tuned for some more so we can do the last one of day 2. And then we're also going to get into day 3 and then we'll get to rest trials. Not really too much of a long trial, but we'll just watch it. I think it's very interesting stuff. And also, make sure you hit the like button. Share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. And also, like I said, stay tuned for some more of Donna Just Being Real. Oh, and if you want to reach out to me, feel free. You'll find my email in the description. And also, if you have like a viewer's request or you need of coaching in dating, love, relationships, anything like that, feel free to contact me and we'll go from there. And also, check out some of my past commentary. I have some awesome playlists and an awesome animation too. Check that out and share it with others too. All right, the end of this one here. Stay tuned for some more of day 2. Bye.